Along the immense eastern coastline of South America, where the land meets the restless Atlantic, a living tapestry unfolds, a realm where ancient forest and ocean are in constant dialogue. Stretching over 4,000 kilometers from the tropical north of Brazil, through the heart of Paraguay, and into the temperate reaches of Argentina, the Atlantic forest, or Mata Atlantica, forms a narrow, sinuous band of green that clings to the continent's edge. This forest is a relic of deep time, one of the world's oldest and most complex ecosystems, predating even the Amazon. Over millions of years, it has evolved into a mosaic of habitats, each shaped by the interplay of salt-laden winds, shifting sands, and the ceaseless pulse of the tides. The Atlantic forest's coastal interface is a zone of extraordinary adaptation. Here, salt-tolerant trees anchor themselves in sandy soils, their roots entwined with those of mangroves and marsh plants. Epiphytes, bromeliads, and orchids flourish in the humid air, drawing moisture from the ocean mists that drift inland each morning. Unlike the vast Amazon, which sprawls across the continent's interior, the Atlantic forest is defined by its proximity to the sea. The humid ocean air, laden with salt and moisture, shapes the very physiology of the plants and the rhythms of the animals that dwell here. Nowhere else on Earth does such a dense, ancient jungle meet the open ocean so abruptly. Misty mountains rise from the shoreline, their slopes cloaked in emerald green, while the relentless surf carves away at the roots of centuries-old trees. The forest's character is sculpted by dramatic geography. The Serra do Mar and Serra da Mantiqueira mountain ranges ascend nearly 3,000 meters, their peaks often lost in swirling clouds, creating a formidable barrier between the ocean and the continent's interior. These mountains intercept moist Atlantic winds, giving rise to cloud forests where mosses and ferns thrive in perpetual mist and where rare species have evolved in isolation atop remote summits. The result is a patchwork of environments: humid lowland rainforests, brackish mangroves, and cool seasonal highland forests, each supporting its own unique web of life. Rivers and streams, fed by the abundant rainfall, carve deep valleys and create fertile floodplains. In the estuaries, fresh water mingles with the tides, forming nurseries for countless aquatic species and corridors for terrestrial wildlife. This dynamic interface between land and sea has fostered an explosion of biodiversity. The Atlantic forest is home to thousands of endemic species, plants, birds, amphibians, and insects found nowhere else on Earth, each finely tuned to the subtle gradients of salt, moisture, and light. The climate here is as varied as the terrain. The forest's proximity to the ocean ensures a constant interplay of weather, sudden downpours, swirling mists, and bursts of sunlight that can transform the landscape in moments. In the lowlands, the air is thick with humidity, temperatures often reaching 28 degrees Celsius. The forest here is evergreen, its canopy dense and unbroken, nurtured by rainfall that can exceed 2,000 millimeters each year. Rain is a constant companion, shaping the forest's structure and fueling the growth of towering trees, tangled lianas, and a riot of understory plants. Higher up, the air cools and the vegetation changes. Here, temperatures average around 14 degrees Celsius, and the forest gives way to cloud-draped woodlands and wind-swept grasslands. The interplay of altitude, humidity, and exposure creates a multitude of microclimates, each a haven for specialized species, some found only in a single valley or mountaintop. The Atlantic forest's ancient origins, shaped by shifting continents and rising seas, have left a legacy of extraordinary endemism. Its coastal interface is a living laboratory, where evolution continues to unfold in real time. This is not a single, uniform woodland, but a network of interconnected ecosystems: mangroves, restinga scrub, dense jungle, and upland meadows, each with its own distinct identity, yet all bound together by the influence of the ocean. Along the coast, mangroves form tangled fortresses against the tides, their roots stabilizing the shoreline and providing shelter for juvenile fish, crustaceans, and migratory birds. Deeper inland, the forest grows denser and darker. Here, Sunlight barely penetrates the canopy, and the ground is alive with the quiet industry of decomposers and the secretive movements of rare mammals and reptiles. At the highest elevations, open grasslands and rocky outcrops support a unique flora, adapted to thin soils and harsh winds, isolated from the lowland forests below. This intricate web of habitats, shaped by the ceaseless interaction of land and sea, has allowed life to flourish in astonishing variety. The Atlantic forest stands as one of the most biologically rich and ecologically significant regions on the planet, a living jewel on the very edge of the ocean, where the story of evolution is still being written. When European settlers first set foot on the shores of South America over 5 centuries ago, they were greeted by a breathtaking, seemingly endless expanse of green. The Atlantic forest, or Mata Atlantica, stretched from the northeastern tip of Brazil all the way down to Argentina and Paraguay, forming a vast, continuous belt of life along the continent's Atlantic coast. At its peak, the Atlantic forest covered an astonishing 1.3 million square kilometers, an area larger than France, Spain, and Portugal combined. This immense forest was a mosaic of ecosystems, from coastal mangroves and restinga to lush montane cloud forests and highland plateaus. The forest's interior was a formidable wilderness with dense, multi-layered vegetation that created a living fortress, sheltering a staggering diversity of life. The landscape was shaped by ancient rivers, waterfalls, and steep escarpments, forming natural corridors and barriers that fostered unique evolutionary paths. For millennia, this unbroken forest was a cradle of biodiversity, home to an estimated 20,000 plant species, 40% of which are found nowhere else on Earth. The Atlantic forest was a living archive of evolution, harboring countless endemic species of birds, amphibians, and insects. Among its most iconic inhabitants were the golden lion tamarin, the maned three-toed sloth, and the brilliantly coloured Spix's macaw. Amphibians like the glass frog and harlequin toad thrived in the moist understory, while rare orchids and bromeliads clung to ancient trees. Yet, the centuries that followed European colonization brought relentless change. The Atlantic forest decline began with the extraction of Brazil wood, a tree prized for its red dye, and accelerated with the rise of sugarcane and coffee plantations. Vast tracts of forest were cleared, replaced by monocultures that stripped the land of its natural complexity. Logging, slash-and-burn agriculture, and the relentless expansion of plantations devastated the landscape. The once continuous forest was carved into fragments, its intricate web of life disrupted by roads, railways, and settlements. The explosive growth of cities like São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro further accelerated the forest's decline. Urban sprawl, industrial development, and infrastructure projects cut deep into the heart of the ecosystem, isolating wildlife populations and altering the natural flow of rivers and streams. The consequences of this transformation were stark. Erosion and landslides became common on denuded hillsides, while the loss of tree cover led to hotter, drier microclimates and the disappearance of countless species. Today, the Atlantic forest is a patchwork of isolated fragments. Over 90% of its original area has vanished. Most remaining patches are smaller than 50 hectares, too small to support viable populations of many species. Scientific surveys estimate that only 12 to 15% of the original forest remains, and much of that is highly degraded. The loss is not just in area, but in ecological integrity. Many fragments are too isolated to sustain the complex interactions that once defined the forest. Fragmentation has created a landscape of ecological islands where edge effects, such as increased sunlight, wind, and invasive species, further degrade the remaining habitat. Many animals, like the jaguar and the lowland tapir, have disappeared from most of their former range. The isolation of these patches makes it nearly impossible for larger mammals and birds to migrate, find mates, or maintain healthy populations. The silent disappearance of species, sometimes before they are even discovered, has become a tragic hallmark of the Atlantic forest's decline. Endangered species like the northern muriqui, the world's largest primate, now survive only in a handful of protected reserves. Many amphibians and plants have vanished entirely from areas where they once flourished, their habitats lost to agriculture and urbanization. The ecological consequences extend far beyond lost species. The Atlantic forest is a vital source of fresh water for over 100 million people, its trees regulating rainfall, filtering pollutants, and stabilizing soils. As the forest shrinks, water supplies become less reliable, and the risk of droughts and floods increases. Healthy forest cover is essential for maintaining the region's hydrological cycle. Without it, rivers run dry in the dry season and overflow during storms, while sediment and pollutants wash into reservoirs and coastal waters. The loss of the Atlantic forest has already led to catastrophic floods, deadly landslides, and the collapse of local agriculture in some regions. The disappearance of pollinators and seed dispersers further threatens the regeneration of both wild and cultivated plants. The decline of the Atlantic forest is a stark warning of how quickly even the richest and most resilient ecosystems can unravel. Its story is not just one of loss, but of urgent lessons for the future, reminding us that the fate of this irreplaceable forest and all it sustains hangs in the balance. Despite its diminished size, the Atlantic forest remains one of the most important biodiversity hotspots on Earth, harboring a wealth of life forms found nowhere else. It is a living library of evolution, where life has branched into an astonishing array of forms, each uniquely adapted to the forest's shifting light, moisture, and terrain. Within its fragmented borders, scientists have catalogued over 20,000 plant species. Among these are the towering Jequitibá trees, whose buttressed roots anchor the forest floor, and the delicate pau-brasil, once so prized for its red dye that it gave Brazil its name. The forest's canopy and understory are adorned with thousands of species of orchids and bromeliads. Some bromeliads form miniature aquatic worlds in their leaf axils, sheltering tiny frogs and insect larvae, while rare ghost orchids bloom in the filtered light, their pale flowers almost ethereal against the green. The Atlantic forest is alive with movement. Golden lion tamarins, with their fiery manes, leap between branches in search of fruit and insects. The elusive manned three-toed sloth, camouflaged by algae growing in its fur, moves slowly through the canopy, while the vibrant red-billed curassow forages quietly on the forest floor. One of the most remarkable features of the Atlantic forest is its exceptionally high rate of endemism. Here, the black-faced lion tamarin and the critically endangered Spix's disc-winged bat exist nowhere else on Earth. This means that a vast number of its resident species are unique to this specific region, having evolved in isolation over millions of years. The blue manakin, with its electric plumage, performs elaborate courtship dances in the dappled light, while the tiny, jewel-like glass frog clings to leaves above rushing streams. The forest's mountainous terrain and historical climate shifts created natural barriers, isolating populations and allowing them to follow their own evolutionary paths. In the misty heights, the rare mountain tree frog calls from bromeliad pools, and the endangered buffy-tufted marmoset navigates the tangled branches. As a result, many of the animals and plants that live here are truly one of a kind. The Atlantic forest harbors the world's smallest bromeliad, the Vrija minuscule, and the striking harlequin toad, whose vivid colors warn predators of its toxicity. Protecting the Atlantic forest is not just about saving a habitat, it is about safeguarding a unique evolutionary heritage. Each rare orchid, each endemic frog, represents a lineage millions of years in the making. This incredible biodiversity is arranged in layers from the dark, humid forest floor to the sun-drenched canopy high above, each stratum supporting its own community of life. The forest floor is a realm of decomposition and renewal. Here, leafcutter ants march in endless lines, carrying fragments to their underground nests, while iridescent beetles and fungi break down organic matter, recycling nutrients back into the soil. In the understory, shade-tolerant plants like the heart-shaped philodendron and the rare Atlantic forest palm thrive. Tiny, secretive rodents and the brilliantly colored Atlantic forest tree frog find shelter among the dense foliage, evading predators above and below. The canopy is a bustling metropolis of life. Sunlight filters through a mosaic of leaves, nourishing epiphytes and lianas that drape from branch to branch. Here, capuchin monkeys forage for fruit and insects, while toucans and tanagers flash their brilliant colors as they feed on berries. Swarms of butterflies and bees pollinate the canopy's flowers, ensuring the next generation of plants. Each species, no matter how small, plays a vital role. The leaf-mimic katydid blends perfectly with the foliage, avoiding predators, while the army ant columns flush out insects, providing food for opportunistic birds. Birds like the jacutinga disperse seeds far and wide. Insects such as orchid bees pollinate rare flowers, and fungi knit the soil together, all forming an intricate web of interactions that sustains the forest. The loss of even a single species can send shockwaves through this delicate system, disrupting food webs and ecological processes that have evolved over millennia. The rich tapestry of life in the Atlantic forest is a testament to the power of evolution, a world of rare plants, dazzling insects, and extraordinary animal interactions, woven together in a living masterpiece that we are only beginning to understand. At the pinnacle of the Atlantic forest's intricate food web stands the jaguar, a creature of immense strength, intelligence, and adaptability. This apex predator is not only a symbol of the wild, but also a living testament to the forest's complexity and vitality. As the largest feline in the Americas, the jaguar commands its territory with a quiet authority. Its muscular build, broad head, and powerful jaws are perfectly adapted for ambushing prey, while its keen senses allow it to move undetected through the dense undergrowth. The jaguar's solitary nature is matched by its elusive behavior. It is most active at dawn and dusk, using the forest's shifting light to blend seamlessly into its surroundings. Its rosette-patterned coat provides exceptional camouflage, making it nearly invisible as it stalks through the dappled shadows of the forest floor. Jaguars are uniquely adapted to the Atlantic forest's mosaic of habitats. They are skilled swimmers, often seen gliding silently through rivers and streams in search of prey. Riverbanks and flooded forests serve as prime hunting grounds, where the jaguar's patience and stealth are put to the test. The presence of a jaguar is a clear indicator of a healthy, undisturbed ecosystem. Only forests with abundant prey and extensive, unbroken tracts of land can support these large carnivores, making the jaguar a barometer for the Atlantic forest's overall health. Ecologically, the jaguar is a keystone species. Its predatory habits shape the structure of the entire community, influencing the abundance and distribution of other animals throughout the forest. Jaguars prey on a wide array of species, from capybaras and deer to peccaries and armadillos. Their diet is highly varied, allowing them to adapt to seasonal changes in prey availability and maintain balance among herbivore populations. By regulating these populations, the jaguar prevents overbrowsing and overgrazing, which in turn protects the forest's vegetation and ensures the regeneration of plant life. This top-down control is essential for maintaining the delicate equilibrium of the Atlantic forest. Without the jaguar, herbivore numbers could surge, leading to cascading effects that disrupt the entire ecosystem. The absence of this apex predator would result in unchecked herbivory, causing the loss of young trees and understory plants and ultimately degrading the forest structure and biodiversity. The jaguar's influence extends through the food web, affecting not only its prey but also the plants and smaller animals that depend on a balanced ecosystem. Its presence helps maintain species diversity and ecological resilience. Far from being a mere hunter, the jaguar is a guardian of the forest's natural order, ensuring that no single species dominates and that the intricate web of life remains intact. Yet, despite its vital role, the jaguar's future in the Atlantic forest is increasingly uncertain. The relentless advance of deforestation has fragmented the jaguar's habitat, reducing the vast territories it needs to survive and hunt. These isolated patches of forest are often too small to support viable jaguar populations, leading to increased competition, inbreeding, and a decline in genetic diversity. The jaguar's solitary lifestyle makes it especially vulnerable to habitat fragmentation, as individuals may be unable to find mates or establish territories, further threatening their survival. Over half of the jaguar's historical range in the Atlantic forest has been lost, and populations continue to dwindle, placing the species at risk of local extinction. The restoration and protection of large, continuous tracts of forest are essential for the jaguar's survival. Reforestation and natural regeneration help rebuild the habitats these predators require. Creating and maintaining biological corridors is equally vital. These green pathways reconnect fragmented habitats, allowing jaguars to roam, hunt, and find mates across larger landscapes. Such corridors not only benefit jaguars, but also countless other species that depend on the forest's continuity for their survival. Jaguars communicate and mark their territories through scent and tracks, leaving subtle signs of their presence. These behaviors are crucial for avoiding conflict and maintaining healthy population densities. The continued existence of the jaguar is a testament to the resilience of the Atlantic forest. Protecting this apex predator means safeguarding the entire ecosystem, ensuring that the wild heart of this ancient forest continues to beat for generations to come. Deep within the Atlantic forest, a complex web of life unfolds every day. Among its most influential inhabitants are the tapirs and monkeys, creatures whose daily routines quietly shape the very fabric of this ancient ecosystem. The South American tapir, a solitary and elusive mammal, is often seen foraging along muddy trails and riverbanks. With its prehensile snout, it skillfully searches for tender shoots, aquatic plants, and a wide variety of fruits that have fallen to the forest floor. Primarily nocturnal, the tapir uses the cover of darkness to move silently through the undergrowth. Its keen sense of smell guides it to ripe fruits and fresh vegetation, while its thick skin protects it from thorns and insect bites as it navigates the dense foliage. Tapirs are voracious fruit eaters, consuming dozens of different species in a single night. Their diet includes everything from soft berries to large, tough-skinned fruits that few other animals can manage. As they feed, tapirs swallow seeds whole. These seeds pass through their digestive tract and are later deposited in nutrient-rich dung, often far from the parent tree. This natural process not only fertilizes the seeds, but also gives them a better chance to germinate and thrive. The tapir's role as a seed disperser is vital for maintaining the forest's extraordinary plant diversity. By moving seeds across vast distances, they help regenerate areas disturbed by storms or landslides and ensure the survival of rare and slow-growing tree species. Their wide-ranging movements create invisible corridors of life, connecting isolated patches of forest and supporting the genetic health of plant populations. Many of the Atlantic forest's largest fruiting trees, such as the jatoba and the guapuruvu, rely almost exclusively on tapirs to transport their heavy seeds, which are too large for birds or smaller mammals to carry. In areas where tapirs have disappeared, the forest floor becomes eerily empty of young saplings from these giants, and the entire ecosystem begins to shift, losing both diversity and resilience. Tapirs reproduce slowly, with females giving birth to a single striped calf after a gestation of over a year. The calf remains hidden in dense vegetation for months, relying on its camouflage to avoid predators while its mother forages nearby. High above, the forest canopy is alive with the movement of monkeys. Agile and social, these primates are constantly on the move, leaping between branches in search of food and companionship. The Atlantic forest is home to several monkey species, including the iconic howler monkeys. These primates live in cohesive family groups, communicating with each other through a complex array of vocalizations and gestures. Howler monkeys are famous for their deep, resonant calls which echo through the forest at dawn and dusk. These calls, produced by an enlarged hyoid bone, serve to mark territory and maintain group cohesion across the vast, leafy expanse. Despite their powerful voices, howler monkeys are peaceful by nature. They spend much of their day resting, conserving energy for digesting their fibrous, leaf-based diet. Their slow, deliberate movements and extended periods of inactivity are adaptations to a diet low in calories but high in tough cellulose, which requires specialized gut bacteria to break down. Yet monkeys are not limited to leaves. They eagerly consume fruits, flowers, and seeds, playing a crucial role in dispersing the seeds of countless plant species throughout the upper layers of the forest. Capuchin monkeys, renowned for their intelligence and dexterity, use stones and sticks to access hard-to-reach foods like nuts and insects. Their varied diet and problem-solving skills allow them to exploit a wide range of resources, making them key players in the forest's ecological balance. As they travel, monkeys inadvertently drop seeds, some of which are encased in tough shells that pass through their digestive systems unharmed. These seeds fall to the forest floor or lodge in crevices, where they may one day sprout into new trees. Together, tapirs and monkeys form a dynamic partnership. Tapirs disperse large seeds across the forest floor, while monkeys spread smaller seeds throughout the canopy and understory. This multi-layered seed dispersal ensures that every level of the Atlantic forest is constantly renewed, supporting a vibrant and resilient ecosystem for generations to come. High above the forest floor, the Atlantic forest canopy forms a complex, layered world teeming with life. Here, sunlight filters through a mosaic of leaves, creating a dynamic environment where only the most specialized creatures can thrive. Among the most iconic of these inhabitants is the three-toed sloth, a master of arboreal living. This gentle mammal spends nearly its entire life suspended in the treetops, rarely descending except to defecate, which it does only once a week, a behavior that minimizes its exposure to ground predators. The sloth's diet is highly specialized, consisting mainly of the tough, fibrous leaves of the cecropia tree. These leaves are low in nutrients and difficult to digest, but the sloth's multi-chambered stomach, filled with symbiotic bacteria, allows it to extract the maximum possible energy from its food. This slow, deliberate movement is not just a result of its diet, but a crucial adaptation. By moving so gradually, the sloth avoids detection by predators such as harpy eagles and jaguars, whose sharp eyes are attuned to movement. Sloths spend up to 20 hours a day resting or sleeping, their bodies perfectly adapted to a life of energy conservation. Their limbs are long and strong, allowing them to drape themselves effortlessly over branches, while their joints are uniquely flexible, enabling a wide range of motion. The sloth's face, with its gentle expression and upturned mouth, belies a suite of remarkable adaptations. Its fur grows in the opposite direction to most mammals, from belly to back, allowing rainwater to run off easily as it hangs upside down. Its long, curved claws, up to 10 centimeters in length, act as natural grappling hooks, providing a secure grip on even the thinnest branches. This adaptation is so effective that sloths can sleep, eat, and even give birth while hanging upside down. The upside-down lifestyle of the sloth is central to its survival. Even newborn sloths cling tightly to their mothers, learning from the earliest days how to navigate the complex three-dimensional world of the canopy. The sloth's fur is a living ecosystem, home to green algae, fungi, and a variety of insects. The algae not only provide camouflage, blending the sloth into the leafy environment, but may also offer nutrients when the sloth grooms itself. This symbiotic relationship enhances the sloth's camouflage, making it nearly invisible to predators. The greenish tint of its fur, combined with its stillness, allows it to disappear among the leaves and branches. Sloths are highly sensitive to changes in their environment. They require large tracts of mature, undisturbed forest to survive, and their presence is a reliable indicator of ecosystem health and stability. In striking contrast to the sloth's slow pace, the golden lion tamarin is a whirlwind of activity. Agile and alert, these small primates dart through the mid-canopy, leaping from branch to branch with astonishing speed and precision. Weighing just 600 grams, the golden lion tamarin is instantly recognizable by its vibrant orange-gold fur, which stands out brilliantly against the deep greens of the forest. This striking coloration is not just for show. It may play a role in social signaling within the group, helping individuals recognize each other in the dense foliage. The golden lion tamarin is found only in the Atlantic forest of Brazil, making it one of the region's most celebrated endemic species. Its survival is intimately tied to the health of this unique ecosystem. Tamarins are highly social, living in cooperative family groups that communicate through a complex array of vocalizations, facial expressions, and scent markings. These groups work together to defend their territory and care for the young, with all members participating in grooming and food sharing. Their diet is diverse, including insects, spiders, small vertebrates, fruits, flowers, and nectar. This varied menu not only sustains the tamarins, but also makes them important seed dispersers and pollinators, contributing to the regeneration of the forest. Their nimble fingers and sharp claws allow them to pry insects from crevices in bark and to manipulate a wide range of food items, demonstrating remarkable problem-solving abilities. Navigating the tangled network of vines and branches, tamarins rely on their keen eyesight and spatial memory to find food and avoid danger. Their agility and coordination are essential for survival in this challenging environment. Social bonds are reinforced through frequent grooming and close physical contact. These behaviors help maintain group cohesion and reduce stress, ensuring the well-being of all members. The daily lives of sloths and tamarins are shaped by the intricate web of the Atlantic forest. Each species, with its unique adaptations and behaviors, plays a vital role in maintaining the balance and diversity of this extraordinary ecosystem. Their continued survival is a testament to the resilience of nature and the importance of preserving these irreplaceable forests. While the Atlantic forest is renowned for its vibrant canopy life, the forest floor is equally alive, an intricate stage where the daily lives of Coatis and Peccaries unfold in remarkable detail. Beneath the towering trees, a thick carpet of leaf litter and tangled undergrowth provides both shelter and sustenance for these mammals, setting the scene for complex social interactions and essential ecological processes. Ring-tailed coatis, agile and ever-curious, move in coordinated bands across the forest floor, their movements synchronized as they search for food. These medium-sized mammals, close relatives of raccoons, are instantly recognizable by their elongated, flexible snouts and expressive banded tails. Their tails, often held high like flags, serve as visual signals, helping group members stay together as they navigate the dense vegetation. Coati society is matriarchal and highly social. Females and their young form cohesive groups, sometimes numbering over 30 individuals, where cooperation and communication are key to survival. In contrast, adult males are typically solitary, living on the fringes of these groups and only joining during the brief breeding season, a strategy that reduces competition and aggression. Foraging is a communal affair. Coatis use their dexterous forepaws and sensitive snouts to probe the soil, overturning leaves and debris in search of hidden morsels. Their diet is impressively varied, ranging from insects, spiders, and small vertebrates to fruits, eggs, and even the occasional reptile, making them true omnivores and vital agents of nutrient cycling. As they forage, coatis disturb the forest floor, aerating the soil and accelerating the decomposition of organic matter. This constant churning not only improves soil health, but also creates microhabitats for countless invertebrates and seedlings. The result is a fertile ground where new plant life can take root, supporting the forest's ongoing regeneration. When coatis consume fruit, they become unwitting gardeners, ingesting seeds that pass through their digestive systems unharmed. These seeds are later deposited in new locations, often far from the parent tree, promoting genetic diversity and forest expansion. Through these actions, coatis play a pivotal role in maintaining the forest's rich biodiversity and resilience. Sharing this dynamic environment are the peccaries, robust pig-like mammals that travel in formidable herds, sometimes numbering over 50 individuals. These herds are tightly knit, moving as a single unit through the undergrowth, communicating with a repertoire of grunts, squeals, and scent markings. Their collective strength is evident as they trample paths through the forest, altering the landscape with every passage. The Atlantic forest is home to several peccary species, each adapted to different niches, but all sharing a voracious appetite and a profound impact on their surroundings. Peccaries use their tough muscular snouts to root through the soil, unearthing roots, tubers, seeds, and invertebrates hidden beneath the surface. This relentless foraging churns the earth, breaking up compacted soil and facilitating water infiltration, which benefits plant growth. The disturbances they create open up space for new seedlings to germinate, giving rise to a constantly evolving understory. Over time, peccaries help shape the very composition of the forest's understory, influencing which plant species thrive. Ecologically, peccaries are a keystone species, linking multiple layers of the food web. They are the primary prey for the elusive jaguar, whose survival depends on the abundance of these powerful herds. The predator-prey relationship between jaguars and peccaries is a classic example of ecological balance, with each shaping the population and behavior of the other. Healthy peccary populations are thus essential not only for the forest's structure, but also for sustaining its apex predators. The intricate social structures of both coatis and peccaries, marked by cooperation, communication, and collective defense, are vital for their survival in this challenging environment. Through their daily activities, these animals not only shape the physical landscape, but also sustain the delicate balance between predator and prey. Together, coatis and peccaries exemplify the profound interconnectedness of the Atlantic forest, their lives woven into the very fabric of this extraordinary ecosystem. The Atlantic forest, despite its remarkable biodiversity and resilience, is now facing an unprecedented convergence of threats that jeopardize its very existence. Deforestation remains the most immediate and visible danger. Over centuries, vast tracts of this once continuous forest have been cleared, leaving less than 15% of its original cover intact. The relentless expansion of agriculture, driven by global demand for soy, sugarcane, and pasture for cattle, has transformed the landscape. Large-scale monocultures replace native vegetation, stripping the soil of nutrients and leaving it vulnerable to erosion. Urbanization compounds the problem. The rapid, often unregulated growth of cities and infrastructure projects has consumed significant portions of the forest, fragmenting habitats and introducing pollution from construction and runoff. The result is a patchwork of isolated forest fragments, each surrounded by inhospitable farmland or urban development. These fragments are too small to sustain healthy populations of many species. Habitat fragmentation disrupts migration routes and breeding patterns, forcing wildlife to cross dangerous open areas in search of food or mates, increasing their risk of predation and road mortality. Large mammals such as jaguars and tapirs, which require extensive territories, are now confined to ever-shrinking pockets of habitat, leading to population declines and local extinctions. The absence of effective wildlife corridors prevents genetic exchange between populations, resulting in inbreeding and reduced resilience to disease and environmental change. For smaller specialized species, The loss of a single tree species or microhabitat can mean the disappearance of their only food source or nesting site, pushing them toward extinction. Infrastructure such as roads and highways slices through the forest, creating physical barriers that further isolate populations and introduce noise, light, and chemical pollution. Beyond these direct human impacts, the Atlantic forest is now grappling with the pervasive threat of climate change. Rising global temperatures are altering rainfall patterns and increasing the frequency of extreme weather events. Once characterized by high humidity and regular rainfall, the region now faces unpredictable weather, with longer dry seasons and more intense storms. Prolonged droughts dry up streams and rivers, stressing both plant and animal life. Water scarcity weakens trees, making them more susceptible to disease and pests. Drier conditions have also made the Atlantic forest, once naturally resistant to fire, increasingly vulnerable to wildfires. These fires can spread rapidly, fueled by dead vegetation and high winds. Wildfires devastate large areas in a matter of hours, destroying centuries-old trees and leaving behind a barren, lifeless landscape. Many animals perish in the flames or are left without shelter and food. The cumulative effect of these threats is a forest under siege from all sides, with each new pressure compounding the damage of the last. A fragmented, climate-stressed forest is less able to recover from disturbances, making it more vulnerable to further degradation and collapse. This downward spiral threatens to push the ecosystem past a tipping point, beyond which recovery may be impossible. The once vibrant symphony of life is fading, as species after species disappears from the landscape. In addition to these threats, invasive species pose a growing danger. Non-native plants and animals, introduced intentionally or accidentally, outcompete native species for resources, disrupt food webs, and alter the structure of the forest. Invasive insects and pathogens can decimate native tree populations, further reducing habitat quality and accelerating forest decline. Aggressive grasses and vines can smother native seedlings, preventing natural regeneration and altering fire regimes, making the forest even more susceptible to burning. The combined impact of deforestation, climate change, and invasive species is transforming the Atlantic forest into a shadow of its former self, with cascading effects on biodiversity, water cycles, and local climates. The future of the Atlantic forest depends on urgent science-based action to halt deforestation, restore connectivity, control invasive species, and build resilience to climate change before this irreplaceable ecosystem is lost forever. In the face of such overwhelming challenges, it would be easy to despair for the future of the Atlantic forest. Yet the story unfolding here is not one of defeat, but of resilience and renewal. Across the region, the Atlantic forest is witnessing a remarkable transformation. In areas once stripped bare by logging and agriculture, nature is quietly reclaiming its ground. Sunlight now filters through a growing canopy, nurturing a vibrant undergrowth of native plants and seedlings. Large-scale ecological restoration projects such as the ambitious Pacto per la Restauração da Mata Atlântica have set in motion the recovery of thousands of hectares. These initiatives employ science-based strategies, carefully selecting native species to re-establish the intricate layers of the forest, from towering emergent trees to the delicate ferns and mosses carpeting the forest floor. In some regions, natural regeneration is proving to be a powerful ally. Where soil and seed banks remain intact, the forest is able to regenerate with minimal human intervention, gradually restoring its original complexity and biodiversity. The return of a green canopy to former pasture lands is being followed by the reappearance of native wildlife. Camera traps and acoustic sensors have documented the gradual return of elusive species, from small mammals to rare birds, signaling the restoration of vital ecological processes. A cornerstone of these efforts is the creation of biological corridors, replanted strips of forest that bridge isolated fragments. These corridors are meticulously planned, using satellite imagery and field surveys to identify the most strategic routes for reconnecting habitats. These green arteries allow species to move safely across the landscape, increasing genetic diversity and resilience. They also provide critical escape routes during fires, droughts, or disease outbreaks, helping to buffer the ecosystem against future shocks. The impact is already visible. In areas where corridors have matured, wildlife is once again foraging, nesting, and migrating between once isolated patches. The return of top predators and pollinators is restoring balance to the ecosystem, enabling the forest to function as a cohesive whole. Scientific monitoring is at the heart of these restoration projects. GPS tracking and remote sensing technologies provide real-time data on animal movements and vegetation growth, allowing for adaptive management and continuous improvement of restoration techniques. The results are striking. Before and after images reveal landscapes transformed from barren fields to thriving forests, with a rich tapestry of plant and animal life returning year after year. In some of the most successful sites, natural regeneration has outpaced expectations, with native trees and shrubs establishing themselves rapidly and providing habitat for a growing array of species. The return of iconic species such as the coati, howler monkey, and golden lion tamarin is a testament to the effectiveness of these efforts. Their presence signals not only the recovery of the forest, but also the restoration of the intricate web of life that depends on it. Each new sighting of wildlife in these restored areas is a powerful reminder of nature's resilience. The forest, given time and support, is capable of remarkable recovery. The path ahead remains challenging. Full recovery of the Atlantic forest's complexity will take generations, and ongoing threats from climate change and land use pressures require constant vigilance and innovation. The slow return of wildlife and the delicate regrowth of native plants are fragile gains, dependent on the quality, scale, and continuity of restoration efforts. Yet these successes demonstrate that it is not too late. With sustained commitment and the application of cutting-edge science, the Atlantic forest can continue its journey of renewal. The future of this magnificent forest depends on our ability to learn from these successes, scale up restoration, and protect the gains already made. If we continue to invest in restoration and conservation, the hidden wonders of the Atlantic forest will not only endure, but flourish, offering hope for biodiversity, climate resilience, and generations yet to come. Beneath the emerald canopy of the Atlantic forest, another world thrives, one that exists in the cool shadows of its rivers, streams, and wetlands. Hidden from view, these aquatic ecosystems are as ancient and intricate as the forest above, weaving a tapestry of life that is vital to the health of the entire biome. Clear, swift-flowing streams wind through the undergrowth, their waters filtered by dense riparian vegetation. Here, unique fish species like the dazzling tetra, with scales that shimmer like scattered sunlight, dart between submerged roots and pebbles. Some, such as the endangered neotropical catfish, have evolved to survive in the tannin-stained waters, their bodies perfectly adapted for camouflage among the leaf litter and fallen logs. The forest's flooded pools and marshes are home to amphibians found nowhere else on Earth. Tiny, jewel-toned frogs cling to floating leaves, their calls echoing softly through the humid air. Among them, the brilliantly colored pumpkin toadlet stands out. So small it can rest on a fingertip, yet its presence signals a pristine and undisturbed habitat. Salamanders, some still undescribed by science, glide silently through the water, their delicate gills waving in the gentle current. Aquatic plants form lush underwater meadows. Water lilies unfurl broad green pads across the surface, while submerged grasses and mosses create shelter for countless invertebrates. These plants are more than mere decoration. They oxygenate the water, stabilize the banks, and provide food for fish and amphibians alike. Rare species like the Atlantic forest water trumpet with its elegant translucent leaves thrive only in these cool, shaded streams. The interplay between land and water is seamless. Fallen fruits from overhanging trees feed fish and crustaceans, while aquatic insects emerge to become prey for birds and bats. During the rainy season, swollen rivers forge new connections between isolated pools, allowing fish and amphibians to disperse and maintain genetic diversity. These hidden aquatic realms are as threatened as the forest itself. Pollution, damming, and habitat fragmentation disrupt delicate cycles, threatening the survival of these specialized species. Yet where the forest is returning, so too are its waters. With each new stretch of restored habitat, the streams run clearer, aquatic plants flourish, and the calls of frogs once again fill the night air. Within the secret life beneath the surface, the Atlantic forest reveals another dimension of its resilience. A world where the flow of water and the pulse of life are forever intertwined. As the sun dips below the horizon and shadows deepen across the Atlantic forest, a transformation unfolds beneath the cloak of night. The forest, so vibrant by day, becomes a realm of subtle sounds and hidden movement, a world ruled by the creatures of the dark. In the inky stillness, the haunting calls of nightjars echo from the undergrowth. These expertly camouflaged birds remain motionless during daylight, but after dusk they take to the air with silent moth-like wings, hunting for insects drawn to moonlit clearings. Their mottled plumage allows them to vanish against the leaf litter, a vital adaptation for avoiding nocturnal predators. High above, spectral phelostomid bats emerge from tangled roosts. Some are nectar feeders, hovering delicately beside night-blooming flowers and pollinating them with every sip. Others are skilled insect hunters, using echolocation to track the faintest flutter of a moth or beetle in the darkness. The rare ghost bat, with its translucent wings and pale fur, glides almost silently through the blackness, a shadow among shadows. On the forest floor, the elusive kinkajou begins its nightly search for ripe fruit. With prehensile tails and nimble paws, these small mammals move effortlessly through the branches, rarely touching the ground. Their large, reflective eyes help them see in near-total darkness, while their keen sense of smell guides them to hidden food sources. The night is also the domain of the owl, the spectacled owl, with its striking facial markings and powerful talons, perches patiently on a low branch. It listens for the faint rustle of a rodent or the soft chirp of a frog, then swoops down in a silent, deadly glide. Its feathered wings are specially adapted to muffle sound, making it a master of stealth. Hidden among the damp leaf litter, bioluminescent beetles flicker with an eerie green glow. Their lights pulse softly, signaling to potential mates and confusing would-be predators. Nearby, the armored armadillo forages quietly, its sensitive snout rooting through the soil for insects and grubs, shielded by a protective shell against the dangers of the night. Tree frogs, invisible by day, become bold after dark. They climb high into the canopy, their skin patterns blending seamlessly with moss and lichen. Some species communicate with elaborate choruses, their calls rising in waves that ripple through the humid air, a symphony of nocturnal life. Even the forest's apex predator, the jaguar, is at its most active. With padded paws and acute night vision, it stalks silently along shadowy trails, its presence sensed more than seen. The jaguar's solitary path crosses those of countless other night dwellers, all bound by the rhythms of darkness and light. Here, in the heart of the Atlantic forest, the night reveals a world as complex and vibrant as the day, one where survival depends on adaptation and where each creature plays a vital role in the living tapestry of the night. Beneath the dense canopy and the tangled roots of the Atlantic forest lies a world largely unseen, a realm where life and death are intimately entwined, and the silent labor of decomposers shapes the destiny of the entire ecosystem. Here, fungi, bacteria, and invertebrates form an invisible network, orchestrating the grand recycling of nutrients that sustains the forest's incredible diversity. In the damp, shaded undergrowth, vibrant fruiting bodies of fungi emerge from decaying logs and leaf litter. Some glow faintly in the darkness, their bioluminescent caps casting an eerie light on the forest floor. These fungi are more than just curious shapes. They are vital engineers, breaking down tough plant matter that would otherwise accumulate and suffocate new life. Their thread-like mycelium stretches through the soil and wood, secreting powerful enzymes that dissolve cellulose and lignin, unlocking nutrients bound within. As fallen branches and leaves decompose, a cascade of life follows. Springtails and beetle larvae tunnel through the softening wood, fragmenting it further. Millipedes and earthworms consume the detritus, grinding it into finer particles and enriching the soil. Each organism plays a precise role, transforming dead material into forms that plants can absorb and use. Beneath the surface, mycorrhizal fungi form intimate alliances with the roots of countless trees and understory plants. These symbiotic partnerships extend the reach of roots, allowing trees to access water and minerals from far beyond their own footprint. In return, the fungi receive sugars and nutrients produced through photosynthesis. This underground web connects individual plants into a vast cooperative network, a silent communication highway that can even help trees warn each other of drought or disease. As the cycle continues, nutrients liberated by decomposers become the foundation for new growth. The towering trees, delicate orchids, and lush ferns all depend on this constant renewal. Even the majestic jaguar and elusive tamarin ultimately owe their existence to the hidden architects below, whose tireless work sustains every layer of life above. In the Atlantic forest, the story of survival is written not just in the drama of predator and prey, but in the quiet persistence of decomposers. Their unseen efforts ensure that nothing is wasted, and that the forest, ancient and ever-renewing, can flourish against all odds. High above the forest floor, where sunlight first touches the Atlantic forest, lies a realm few ever witness, the canopy layer. This vast, leafy ceiling forms the living roof of the forest, a green world suspended in the air, bustling with its own dramas and discoveries. The canopy is a mosaic of interwoven branches, lianas and epiphytes. Towering, emergent trees, some rising over 40 meters, pierce the sky, their crowns forming islands of light and shadow. Here, bromeliads and orchids nestle in the crooks of branches, collecting rainwater in their leaf rosettes. Tiny frogs and insects find sanctuary in these miniature pools, while the roots of epiphytes cling tightly to their lofty perches, absorbing moisture and nutrients from the humid air. In this sun-drenched layer, life is adapted for heights. Golden lion tamarins leap nimbly from branch to branch, their bright fur aflash among the leaves. Agile squirrel monkeys form chattering troops, foraging for fruit, insects, and nectar. Slender tree frogs, their toes tipped with sticky pads, cling to smooth leaves, while colorful toucans and parrots flit through the dappled light, their calls echoing across the treetops. The canopy is a place of abundance and competition. Fruit-bearing trees, such as the towering fig and the graceful jabuticaba, attract a host of frugivores, woolly spider monkeys, opossums, and even bats, each playing a vital role in seed dispersal. Predators, too, stalk this aerial world. The margay, a small and elusive wild cat, hunts birds and small mammals with silent precision, its flexible ankles allowing it to descend headfirst down tree trunks. Not all life here is large or loud. Camouflaged insects, like stick bugs and leaf-mimic katydids, blend seamlessly with the foliage, evading the watchful eyes of predators. Swarms of butterflies and bees move from flower to flower, pollinating the canopy's blooms and fueling the cycle of life above. The interplay of sunlight and rain creates countless microclimates, supporting a rich diversity of mosses, lichens, and ferns. These plants trap moisture and nutrients, creating miniature ecosystems that support spiders, ants, and beetles in astonishing variety. In the Atlantic forest, The canopy is more than just a boundary between earth and sky. It is a vibrant, ever-changing habitat, home to nearly half of the forest's species. Each day, as the sun arcs overhead, the treetops come alive, a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of the life that thrives in the forest's highest reaches. Beneath the emerald expanse of the Atlantic forest, a silent crisis unfolds. This ancient ecosystem, once stretching unbroken for thousands of kilometers, now shelters some of the world's most endangered species, creatures whose very existence hangs by a thread. Among the shadows of the understory, the southern muriqui, or woolly spider monkey, moves with deliberate grace. Once abundant, these gentle giants are now one of the rarest primates on Earth, their numbers decimated by habitat loss and fragmentation. Small, isolated groups cling to survival in protected reserves, separated by expanses of farmland and roads. Conservationists have responded with innovative solutions, the creation of forest corridors, strips of native vegetation that reconnect fragmented habitats, allowing muriquis and other species to travel, find mates, and maintain genetic diversity. Elsewhere, the charismatic golden lion tamarin faces a similar plight. Brilliant orange in the dappled light, these tiny primates were pushed to the brink of extinction. Intensive captive breeding and reintroduction programs have brought hope, but their future depends on the restoration and protection of lowland forest. Each tamarin family depends on a territory rich in fruiting trees and nesting sites, resources that vanish with every acre cleared. The plight of the red-billed curassow, a striking black bird with a vivid scarlet beak, is even more precarious. Hunted for food and trapped for the pet trade, its haunting calls once echoed through the forest. Today, it survives only in a handful of reserves. Conservationists deploy camera traps and acoustic monitors to track its presence, while local communities are enlisted as stewards, protecting nests and reporting illegal activity. Amphibians, too, are in peril. The tiny electric blue bahia frog is found nowhere else on Earth. Its survival is threatened not just by deforestation, but by the spread of disease, particularly chytrid fungus, which has devastated amphibian populations worldwide. Scientists race to study and breed these frogs in biosecure labs, searching for disease-resistant individuals and safe habitats for reintroduction. Despite these challenges, hope persists. Restoration projects, seed banks, and reforestation efforts stitch together the torn fabric of the forest. Conservation biologists utilize drones and satellite imagery to monitor regrowth and identify critical habitats. Some endangered species, like the manned three-toed sloth, have become symbols of the Atlantic forest's resilience, inspiring global support and local pride. Yet the future of these guardians on the brink depends on vigilance and innovation. Each species lost is a story silenced forever, but with every sapling planted, every corridor connected, and every law enforced, the Atlantic forest moves one step closer to healing, and the rare creatures within are given another chance to thrive.